So, folks, we're back at it again with another call from the Transatlantic Call-In Show. It's a show that I've been co-hosting now for months, and you should go check it out. There are lots of different calls. I've been on several different episodes now. I co-host. I'm trying to co-host every other week, so you can check that out. But the show itself is on every week on Thursday. So go check it out. And guess what? The show, the Transatlantic Call-In Show, is on The Line. And if you don't know what that is, there's a link down in the description to The Line. It has a lot of different shows on it. Has a lot of different great content creators, some of whom you may be familiar with, others of whom you may not be. Go check it out. There's also a link down there to the Patreon and the merch store. A lot of really cool stuff. This particular episode was with Josie Caballero. Go check it out. Josie's also running for office, so go check out Josie and support her candidacy. And of course, also, folks, if you don't know what the Transatlantic Call-In Show is, it is a show where people can call in, oddly enough, and ask any question they want about transness, whether it's for advice or they want to have a spicy debate or they have just a genuine question they've always wanted to know, or if they've been getting some conflicting information and they don't really know what to believe. We're here to help you out. So call in and let us know what's on your mind. It's a great show. I have enjoyed every single episode I've been on, and we get a very wide variety of different calls. So, of course, also like, comment, and subscribe here. But also, if you want to check out the full episode, there's a link down in the description to that too. So, like, comment, subscribe here, and like, comment, and subscribe over there. It's a win-win. Go do the things. And you can watch live again every Thursday. Go check that out. And I hope you enjoy this back and forth in this call.
We have Mark calling in, him from Germany. You are live on the line with Jack and Josie. How are you today? It looks like you want to talk about gender being a thing. So lay it on us. What do you think?
Well, sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. And
no worries, you're doing great.
English is not my first language.
Oh, well, you're doing fine, and we'll speak slow for you. No worries.
Thanks. Practically, I deconstructed most of my right-wing beliefs, but I'm still gender critical, I think you call it in English. And I want to better myself and take my own advice of all the other topics were already deconstructed. So I wanted to call. Yeah, maybe you can convince me.
Sure.
When you say gender critical, can you elaborate a little bit on what that means to you?
Well, my view is practically, if you are born a male and you like to dress feminine, you are a male who wants to dress feminine. If you are a male who wants no dick, you are a male who doesn't want a dick, but you will always be a male.
Okay, so is your position that sex and gender are the same thing?
I don't even know what gender properly is.
Okay. I actually have a great way to maybe demonstrate this. Like, Mark, say you're walking down the street and you see someone wearing a dress, long hair, lipstick. They seem to have breasts, hips, etc., wearing high heels. What do you think they are? You're just walking by them and passing. You're not talking to them. You're not doing anything. Like, would you say that you walked by a woman? Would you say you walked by a man?
Well, the society would tell me that this is a woman, but my knowledge tells me I can't know because there are who could do the same thing.
Okay. So the thing that you are acknowledging that you would and society in general would categorize that person just based on those kind of superficial traits, would categorize that person as a woman. Um, and you're saying, well, I can't know. How would you know?
Um, I would, at least from my worldview I have right now, I would need to ask what their sex is.
What, well, so like, and how are you going to know whether or not they're telling you what their sex is?
I would
Like
need to
how
talk
would
to them, but from the position I'm in the example, I can't know.
Yeah, and so kind of what we're talking about is that there is not really a way for you at all to definitively tell what somebody else's sex is by just walking down the street and looking at someone. If you were to apply pronouns and you've acknowledged, society would say, generally speaking, that person you're walking by would be categorized as a woman, right? That
Yeah,
social definition is what gender is. Gender is a social construct. It's a set of ideas and uh, cues and qualities that people generally group as woman, you know? And so when we're talking about gender, that social definition that is so nebulous. I don't know if you were listening to our last caller, but we were talking about how the idea of what it means to have gender, woman or man, changes over time. That's because it's socially defined, right? And so the problem I think that you're running into is that you're trying to say sex is gender and operates the same as gender, but those are two very different things. Does that make sense? Does that example help kind of clarify a little bit?
yeah, but if you say that it's just an amalgamation of traits we associate with womanhood, wouldn't then, I don't know, a femboy, for example, wouldn't then that classify as a woman because he would then wear dresses, he would dress feminine, act feminine, maybe even take estrogen and so on.
Well, I feel like you kind of, by calling someone a femboy, are kind of already playing into that. The
The
same way,
gender.
yeah, you're playing into like the gender construct and acknowledging it by even using the term femboy
Yeah.
because like that and a lot of femboys would acknowledge that they are playing into those social expectations of womanhood as well, right? Like it's not an unknown quality that they're engaging with. It is they are directly engaging with this very social quality while still identifying as men, right?
But how do you identify as a man if the
Perfect.
identification of a gender is the stereotypes and you
So
literally
here,
give all
Mark,
the
let me
what
ask you this. I'm going to ask you a question. Are you a man?
um from my worldview, yes. From your worldview, I don't
Well,
know.
no, okay. So you said you're a man, right? So that means you are telling me you identify as a man. Why?
I don't know. I could theoretically be a woman. I don't know if I'm a woman under your worldview
Well, no, I'm
because
not
I
asking my
like to dress
worldview.
feminine. I like
Mark,
to act.
We're
so
asking
so
under your worldview, Mark.
I'm asking about your worldview because that's what we're interrogating, right? Like my worldview has nothing to do with it because I'll tell you what Jack and my worldview is. You tell me what you say you are, right? So when I
In,
ask
in,
you, are you a man? And you say yes, I ask you why because I know you're a man because you said you're a man. I ask you why because I want to know why do you think you're a man?
oh, I thought I did not know you were referring to my worldview. In my worldview, I don't identify as anything. I'm either a man
Okay.
or not, and my relation to what I am does not matter.
Okay, so your worldview is that you do not have a gender. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah,
Okay. So so
maybe.
so you so okay, no, this is fine. This is fine. So if you say that you understand sex, and I think we all understand sex. Sex is the biological culmination of different traits that essentially identify you as a male, right? So in that context, so that's sex, right? So we understand that that exists together, right? Can we all agree that like sex exists, right? Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, great. All right. So that's the case. So the conversation we are having is about gender, right? Because that's what you were talking about, the idea about gender and understanding that. So in the worldview of yourself, you do not believe you have a gender, which is fine. So in my worldview, now I'm going to talk about my worldview because you were kind enough to tell me yours. My worldview is that there's a difference between sex and gender, right? And Jack already kind of posited this a little bit. So here's how I as well agree that the gender is the social construct that you associate with on a daily basis when you're walking through the world, right? So if you see somebody on the street and you interact with them, and however the gender that you perceive to be the case, you interact with that person in that way because you're not touching their crotch, you're not asking for chromosome tests, you're not asking to squeeze their breasts or things like that. You're just interacting with the human being in front of you. So you're dealing with the social construct of whatever you see in front of you, even if you haven't talked to them yet. So that is what we believe the gender portion is. So in this worldview, I'm going to bring it to a logical sentence. Okay, this is I know English is your second language, so I'm gonna if you don't understand what I mean by logic and in this thing, I do something called a logical test of like the idea between sex and gender. So simply I say this. Some women can have penises and some women don't, right? So for me, that means that sex and gender are different. And I'm using the word penis as the sex as a shorthand, right? I'm not saying that sex is only a penis. I'm just saying that in this example, I'm referring to sex as a penis. So some women have penises and some women don't. So in my worldview, that sentence makes sense because women is the gender and the penis is the sex in this particular case. So that sentence makes sense. And to give an analogous statement of for the logical test to work, some coconut trees have coconuts and some coconut trees don't. Right. So the coconuts are kind of representing the penis in this example, but they're still coconut trees, which is the gender of what they are. Right. It's not a perfect analogous statement, but it allows us to test the logic between the difference between the tree and then the coconuts themselves versus the woman, who's the tree in this example, versus the penis, which is the coconut in this example. So that is how I logically can put it out forward about the idea of some women have penises and some women don't. So I'm going to ask you the question. Do some women have penises and some women don't? True.
If we go by gender, then yeah, and your worldview, then yeah, that makes logical sense.
Okay, great. So now we understand the idea and the concept of gender, which is what you asked in your initial question about what is gender. So in the worldview that we're positing that most people in society of the social construct believe, woman is the gender category and sex is like the female portion of that category, right? So we have the two things. So somebody who is born female can be a man, and some people who are born female are a woman, and sometimes people who are born female can be non-binary, right? So those are all different genders on top of the female category, right? Depending on how that person identifies. So that is the best way that I can explain it simply of what gender is. Do you understand that?
I think I get it, but then the question
Okay.
arises of how do you determine, for example, my gender? how do I know that
Great.
I'm a male,
Okay.
non-binary, or a female?
I have a great example for this. Okay. Are you familiar with Thomas the Tank Engine?
As a kid, but I don't quite have good memories towards it.
Okay, but you know that Thomas the Tank Engine in the world of this show is considered like a boy train, right?
Yeah.
Would you say that Thomas the Tank Engine is a boy train because Thomas the Tank Engine has male genitalia?
Well, we never got to see it in the show, but I will assume he does not have male
Okay, yeah,
genitalia.
we'll assume that Thomas the Tank Engine does not have that. So what makes Thomas the Tank Engine a boy?
A good question. I don't have an answer towards that.
It's because he is identifying in the show with a set of, you know, masculine traits that we typically associate with men,
Well,
right?
I would say
Or
this. It's not the traits. It's not the traits. It's just that Thomas the Tank Engine says he's a boy.
yeah,
Thomas
I
the Tank
mean,
Engine says that he's, in that
because
way.
and because
Because the traits don't matter in this
well, and
situation, right?
presumably because Thomas the Tank Engine identifies with the idea of
But he expresses
manhood.
masculine.
Yes.
So I not to get more because I think Mark, like this is the big differentiation, right? In a human person, there is gender identity, there's gender expression, there's sex, there's sexual orientation, and I argue there's a fifth one, which is relationship configuration, meaning you can have 0 to many partners. And that is just how we are built inside, right? Like, would you agree that somebody who is gay is born that way?
Um, I would rather say it develops like they grew up, but yeah, we can probably also say that.
Yes. Okay. Great. We're gonna go with the fact that gay people are born that way. And so it's the same thing with gender identity. Now, when you were talking about your femboy, right? A femboy is somebody who identifies as a man and has the gender expression of feminine. So therefore, they like the feminine characteristics that they like to express, right? But they still identify as a man, just like someone who is a butch woman or someone who is a tomboy. Those are words that are used in English. So I don't know if they translate well in German, but
I know what they
essentially
mean.
it's yeah. So a woman who identifies as a woman but likes masculine things. The key here, Mark, the reason that how you find out somebody's gender is you ask them. That's the only way. That's why I asked you, do you identify as a man? Because it's the only way I can confirm who you are because it's your identity. I can't tell you what you are. Only you can tell me what you are. And that's what
Yeah,
gender
that makes
identity
sense to
is.
me. But
Yeah.
how does
Okay.
someone else know? Like, how do I now
Sure.
know that I am a male if I have female traits,
Sure.
for example?
So sure. So what it is Mark, this is the beauty of having people who are trans in the world and people who explore gender in the world, because you get to freely ask yourself that question. Guess what? I used to ask myself that question all the time when I thought I was a man because society told me I was one, and I had to discover that I was actually a woman. And that was a very hard journey for me because I grew up in conservative rural Texas, which in America is a very conservative place where trans people aren't accepted as freely as other places of the world. And so I had to deal with the fact I even joined the military as a man, right? And I had to do all of the things that military men were doing, right? And even though inside I've always felt that that was wrong, even though because I've been a woman this whole time. And Mark, it's okay to ask yourself that question, but it's a question that only you can answer. Because the answer could be I don't feel like a man. I don't think I am one, and that's fine. Right. And that's where you have to do your self discovery and figure it out. Are you a non binary person? Do I like, do you should like, Mark, how does it feel if you were to tell me you're a woman? Just say it. I am a woman. Just say it out loud for me. Just so I can ask, say that.
I feel like a woman.
Oh, okay. So you say, but are you a woman or do you feel like a woman? Say, I am
I
a
don't
woman.
know.
Say it.
I don't
Well,
know,
say it. I
to be
want you to
honest.
say it really quick. I want you to say it really fast so that way you can hear it in your head and you can feel what that feels like after you say it. Right? Feeling is not necessarily what I like me. I am a woman. I don't feel like one. I just am one. Just like a man who says they are a man, don't say I feel like a man. They just are a man. Right? That
I
is the
am a
real.
man. I am
There you go.
a woman. I am
Okay.
non-binary.
All right. Great. Great. So, how did that feel when you said that?
I I have no feeling towards that.
Okay. Great. All right.
Interesting.
Perfect. Okay. So, Mark, have you ever heard of the term agender before?
No, I have not.
Okay. Agender is someone who doesn't identify with a gender identity at all. They don't have one. It's very similar to somebody who is asexual because they have no sexual attraction. Right? They don't have one. They don't understand the concept of why anybody would have one because it just doesn't exist inside of you. So the
Wait,
idea of gender may be very foreign to you because you may not have a gender identity.
wait. Maybe I get it now. Gender identity is how you stand towards and feel towards the societal norms, and gender expression is how you act then towards those
Yes,
gender
Yes,
norms.
you
that is
got it.
absolutely
I
right. That is
fucking get it.
There you go, Mark. There you go. No, this is great. I really appreciate you exploring this because there are people all over the world that are asking them the same question. Right. And us as trans people, for us, we get it real fast because it's like, I'm a woman, I know, because I've been fighting to be a woman this whole freaking time on this planet. And so my gender identity is very hard, fast inside of me who I am. Just like anybody who says that they're a woman, if they're cis, or anybody who says they're a man, or anybody who says they're non-binary, they're very strong in that identity, right? You know what I'm talking about, Mark, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so some people don't have that. Some people just don't care. Some people have no sense or understanding of what that is or doesn't care how the world looks at them or says who they are because you don't have that in yourself. Now, that is something that I think is starting to come to light more and more as we understand gender identity better because there are a lot of people who just like yourself is like you just finally understand the concept, right?
Hmm.
And just like an asexual person who's looking around at their friends and be like, "Wait, y'all have sex? Like what the hell have y'all been doing? Like that is a thing?" And then like all of a sudden it is illuminated of like that's what that is and they're like, "Ew, gross. I'm not going to do that. I don't want that for myself." But you can understand that sex exists even though you have no desire to have it, just like certain people who don't have any concept or want for gender identity can understand that other people have it, but it plays no important role in your life at all.
And I think maybe a way of thinking about it is how people like identify as like fans of a specific sport team. You know, it's just a much higher stakes version of that for people because it's a lot closer to who they are internally. It reflects who they are more accurately, right? And just in the same way, like I'm not a sports person. I do not care about sports, really. It's not my thing. But I can understand that people do very much care about sports, even outside of myself. Like, and how do people come to become fans of different teams? Well, there are a wide variety of different teams you can root for, a wide variety of different sports you can root for. And how you identify and what you're interested in, that's up to you, you know?
Hmm.
So Mark, after now understanding your original question about is gender a thing, right? And understanding the idea of the gender critical positioning that you were in at the beginning, how do you feel now?
I probably can't give you an answer because I need to think about it. I can't answer that on the spot, so I maybe need to sleep about it.
That's
But
fair.
Uh-huh.
I have the feeling that that thing, this gender critical thing, is gone
Okay.
or
Right.
will be gone.
Yeah. And I appreciate your honesty, Mark, right?
Yeah.
Because that's why we do this show, right? We're not here to judge. We're here to kind of just talk through it because unfortunately or fortunately, Jack and I have had to be experts on gender because we've had to explain our existence to people for the entirety of our existence. And that's why we want to share our knowledge and wisdom that we've gathered from our own gender identity to help explain it to people just like you.
And thank you guys for that.
Yeah, I
And
thank you too.
I just
I
really
don't I don't
appreciate
I
you
don't know if
calling in and
it's
being
transphobic
like,
to say guys to you guys.
oh,
Mm,
I just appreciate you calling in and like engaging with us like honestly and sincerely. Like I appreciate that so much. And so thank you for calling in, Mark.
Of course,
yeah,
and
thank
I'm
you.
very
And
thankful for in
oh,
probably more than one way.
oh,
Heck yeah.
yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you, Mark, and you have a great rest of your day. Okay.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.
I don't know if it's you, Jack, but you have brought like the best vibes like to all of these calls. I don't know
I
how you did it.
I don't know what's happening today, but I'm really appreciating just the sincerity of people who are calling in. I'm always a little bit prepared to just like get pugilistic on this
Yeah.
show, but like man, today people have just been restoring my faith in humanity a little
I
bit,
know.
you
I
know?
like it's like people coming in and like actually saying I'm gonna sit and think I now get it. Like I think that was probably the most like what was the word not humble it was what is it genuine, it's not the word genuine, but it's like that was like I got it was
Yeah.
so like it was like such a moment of like oh my gosh, that was wholesome. That's the word I'm looking for. It was like
Yeah.
the most wholesome thing that I think I've ever experienced on this show of just like somebody understanding gender. And it's like the idea of like, and that's where I'm now starting to take the position on a lot of these calls. And this is kind of a new thing for me over the last few months of doing
Mhm.
this show now. Like, because I've been doing this for over 2 years, which is wild to think about. But like, but you know, the idea that like having the perception of like somebody may legitimately not understand gender, right?
Mhm.
Because the way I used to approach a lot of the conversations in the past on this show has been a lot of like they're not understanding gender in bad faith. But now I'm starting to take the position of like maybe people genuinely don't understand gender because it's never had to been a concept that they've had to think about before,
Exactly. Yeah.
right? And
That's
it's really changed the direction of a lot of these calls.
And that's how like I like to I want to live in a world where I extend like the presumption of like good faith to everyone who calls in
Of course.
until they reveal like maybe that they're not operating in good faith. But like it's nice to have that expectation like met several times in a row. I
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is it's relieving, you know?
Yeah.
Well, that was a wonderful call. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. And if you did, let me know what you thought about it in the comments. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, if you will. And also consider doing that over on the line as well to support the Transatlantic Call-In Show. And yeah, it's a good time. Also, check the links down below because you can get links to the line, the episode, the Patreon, the merch store. There's a lot of cool stuff over there, and constantly being updated and added to all the time. So do check it all out. And yeah, also if you're in oh god, I stopped at the weirdest. I stumbled over my words at the weirdest possible time and said urine. God, I don't think there's any way to salvage the end of this. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed this. Let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat Jack.